NYSC posting matter, remember this bit in the news has gone back and forth. The House of Representatives has spoken up about it. The Minister of Information also gave his bit to it. That's our focus this morning. And Ezike Ibuchukwu joins us now. He's the Executive Secretary of CLO, that's Civil Liberties Organization. Thank you for coming on this morning.
It's a pleasure. God bless Nigeria.
Well, eventually, because there are some publications coming through now, which we understand was signed by the DG himself, that some of them should report for reposting, but it's got to be followed through for them to be actually sure of what's going on. But having followed that matter yourself, and you've seen the way it went back and forth, how would you comment on the handling of the entire matter by the government?
Well, as a human rights organization, we're looking at the human rights implications in sending people to places that have been threatened by violence. You look at the issue of threat to life, you look at the issue of threat to freedom of association, freedom of speech, and freedom of movement. So if the National Assembly or the House of Representatives had passed a resolution that Nigerians' youth should not be posted to those places, whatever the federal government action is condemnable, is rejectable, and not acceptable.
But before you even maybe go a little further than that, if you talk about, yes, they've got the rights, the individuals, but the government is not acting based on nothing. They're predicating it based on the law, because the NYSC is established by law, and then the postings are also in accordance with the Establishment Act of the NYSC. So, how would that be condemnable?
Well, I don't know the law you're talking about. In 1973, when the NYSC scheme was established, there were three basic reasons. One was to reconcile, reconstruct, and rebuild Nigeria that was coming out of a civil war. The second was to promote ties among the youth of this country. And finally, to promote national unity. Now, if you are sending people to places where their lives are at risk, what are you doing? Is that promotion of national unity? Is it promoting common ties among the youth? Or are you reconciling and rebuilding and reconstructing the nation? So in the first instance, the reasons for which the scheme was established is been defeated when you send people to places where their lives are at risk.
But you've heard the complaints of the governors from that area that the security situation is not as bad as is being said it is, and that, you know, it's just been a little exaggerated, and they're feeling left out. They're feeling like they're not a part of this country.
So who sanctioned some local government areas? Who placed a state of emergency in certain local government areas in those states? Was it you and I?
Was the federal government?
Of course. Why did they? Did they place such in Lagos? You know, other states of the Federation where such violence were not being experienced? And certain parents and people from certain regions in this country have already issued statements asking the federal government not to post their citizens or their children to those places. Are you not aware that certain members of the National Youth Service Corps have been executed, have been killed, have been injured? So do we need the governors to tell us what is happening when we know America is already asking its citizens to be very cautious of how they stay in this country, and several other foreign nations in this place. So we don't need them. 2 days ago, 2 plazas were bombed in Abuja. So we don't need anybody to tell us what is happening. When we have eyes, we feel all these things. We are Nigerians. Do you need the governors of those states to tell you that? What of the House of Representatives? You think they have no sensibilities to have passed such a resolution?
But is there anywhere, that there is no risk? I mean, even people who live in places that are relatively safe, you still have risks in those places. What is the guarantee that, okay, you send them to, say, another state and they're safe? Is there a guarantee for that?
Well, you see, when we're talking about security of life, if there's no threat to life in a place, it's a different ballgame. But I know that you and I, if you have been sent to stay in those places, you will not. People are already moving out of those places. You recall that in the past, the movement for the actualization of the sovereign state of Biafra sent buses to those places to recruit their people back to their base. Certain governors are sending buses or vehicles to those places to ask their people back. So why are they doing so? Are those things happening in other states? Coffee have been placed in certain states in this country. They have not been placed in other places. Why were those coffee placed? There were reasons for such actions. So there's a different ballgame. You can't go to Somalia. You can't go to Syria. I don't know if you can now, if you are offered, free visit to Syria, whether you will go.
Is it sufficient for the House of Representatives to just, pass a resolution banning or stopping the NYSC from sending coppers to those places? Shouldn't they also be asking for explanations?
Which explanation from who?
From, say, the NYSC. For instance, it was this same NYSC that told the INEC in Edo State that if you cannot guarantee the safety of the lives of our coppers, we will not give you any coppers to help conduct the elections. Do you think that this same NYSC will now deliberately send coppers to places where their lives are in danger?
Assess the situation in Edo State and the situation in all these states that we are mentioning or talking about.
Now, the more reason, because, there's almost no threat in Edo State.
The one in Edo State is being supposed. There is no violence in Edo State. But people have been killed in these states. Homes have been destroyed. People have been turned refugees.
Just yesterday, the news broke that some of the core members have been asked, those who are yet to collect their call-up letters have been asked to come to the NYSC Directorate and get their call-up letters so that they can go and do their orientation in some other neighboring states. But again, people are not too clear as to what exactly is happening to those posted to Kano State. So now you're trying to relate this to what has happened to some other core members. So what do you think that people like your organization, as well as the National Assembly and even all the civil groups, can do to really avert anything? Is it that the security people, they're not on top of it? Because definitely for the government to have posted people to these states, they must have had the security reports that these states are now free. So people can go there and do their orientation as well as their postings.
Well, you know that since October 1st, 2010, when this bombing issue started, the government has been telling us that on top of the situation, but day in, day out, grave situations, come to play. The United Nations House was bombed. It wasn't bombed that time. The headquarters of the Nigerian police was bombed. Several police formations in some of these states were also bombed. Even the cattle rearers and those who came to buy were attacked. So the schools, University of Maiduguri was closed down for certain periods, Also in BUK there, a lecturer was almost, killed. So if the government tells us, the government will always be telling us, but look at the security reports of some other nations in Nigeria. How we are responding to the situation.
Will the change of an orientation camp make any difference? Because after orientation, you'll still be posted to that state. Are you saying that they shouldn't even go after orientation, maybe in state A or B? They should not be posted back to that particular state?
The House of Representatives in its sensibility has reviewed the situation. Also know that some of the members of the House of Representatives are from those states. They were part of the people who took this resolution. That to save the lives of these young men and women, they should not be posted to those grave states where the threat to life is grave. So the issue is, if these people who have been elected by us to represent us in the National Assembly have looked at the situation and say, don't go this area, I think they should be applauded. They should be praised for taking such decisions. And the House of Representatives, for note, have taken such resolutions for 3 times. Recall when the uprising Occupy Nigeria was on in January, they have to cut down their recess and came and took a decision where we now have this the oil subsidy report. And then during the in the heat of the corruption saga, they also reconvened on Friday from recess to discuss the issue. Now they have passed this is the essence of governance. It's not about staying in office and issuing statement that all is well.
All right, let's listen to the Minister of Information on this matter because he spoke up on that matter also.
Very clearly, the Minister of Youth Affairs was not in council today, but I believe the ministry is handling all the issues related to the safety of NYSC core members. I can assure you that the President and all of us working with him place a lot of premium on the safety of all our core members, no matter where they serve in the country. And what we do as a government is to continue to ensure that in the face of these security challenges, our core members, wherever they are posted to, are secure and are able to render their services to the nation and return back safely at the end of their service. So I can assure you that the government will look into all issues relating to the security and safety of all core members that are going to serve the country now and in the future.
Okay, well, there you have heard the Minister of Information speaking up on the matter. So doesn't that mean, or does it mean that the government is not completely or not insensitive at all to that matter? It means they've got the interest of these people at heart, as he says.
God bless you. I've just said it. The government is insensitive to the yearnings.
No. I said government say they have the interest of the people at heart from what the minister said there. So contrary to the claim that they are insensitive, he says they are not.
He will not allow his child to go to those places.
How do you know?
Yes, he won't. If these people say those places are now safe, let them declare their own children, their own members of the family, and send them there. You cannot send the children of poor Nigerians to those places to be killed, to be injured. And then you tell us that all is well because they have retinue of security men and women guarding them. This man was a former president of Students' Union in University of Jos. All of us were together in this struggle to build a better, just and organized Nigeria. That is the way he's saying because he's in government. The other time he said Nigerians were ignorant because we said the president couldn't have jetted out of this country to Brazil when lives were being lost, when security of life and property of Nigerians are threatened. That even for the life of one citizen in this country, it is enough for the president to stay and show solidarity. But the man said we are ignorant.
Juxtapose your comments with this decision because it came through last night where the NYSC says those whose postings were originally in Yobe and Borno states will now have to undergo their orientation in Benue and Nasarawa states. So, how does that fit into what you say?
Well, we know the states, that are gravely threatened, where security of life and property are in danger. In those states where the House of Representatives has passed a resolution that the UCOM members should not be posted to those states. If Nasarawa state is one of those states, no problem. If Benue state is not of those states, there's no problem. We have problems to those places that are prone to violence, where lives and property of these Nigerians should be threatened. That's the area. And you were asking questions about what civil society organization can do.
What have they done before now?
We have
on this matter.
Yes, we have been issuing statements. We've been condemning. I am here today. I'm to talk on it because we are concerned, and as a human rights group, the human rights issues I have mentioned 4 of them. Trade to life, trade to freedom of association.
Do the core members also have rights?
I don't know human beings.
No, the kind of rights to say no, I won't go because they
yes.
National service.
National service.
Which is national service superior to their lives? You serve when you are alive. You and I could not be talking here if you are not alive. Dead people cannot come to this place to talk. So if you are going to serve because you are alive. So, but if the life is threatened, you can't go there. What is the essence of serving? I have mentioned the reasons for which this scheme was established. Now, was it to build in a good Nigeria, a Nigerian of our own desire, or to build a Nigerian that there will be no Nigeria again? So it is to remind people that their forefathers and foremothers were killed in the Civil War. It is to remember people the past. Like some of us who lost our mothers during the Civil War, who lost our fathers, who lost our dear ones. So you are taking us to those places for us to be killed, to remember the horrors of the Civil War. So the House of Representatives, to my own understanding, and to the view of the Civil Liberties Organization, has done the right thing, and they are commendable.
So how would you advise that the National Youth Service Corps handles this now? Because they're beginning to take interim measures. They're saying, as Sulaiman pointed out, that, you know, you can serve in some states, in neighboring states or states that are a little far off, but we're not quite sure of the next step. Is it that these people should not be posted there at all under any guise, not even for orientation, not to serve? Should their letters be totally readjusted? What exactly would you advise the NYSC to do?
I agree with you. The situation, the resolution of the House of Representatives should be thoroughly obeyed, because they are representatives of the people. They have assessed the situation.
How would you say that that resolution be obeyed? That's the question
that
we're asking.
Nobody should be posted to the danger-prone states. They know the states.
Isn't that bucking down for the enemy? Now we're cowed. You know, when you don't have to post people to those places, it's like we've chickened out. We've given up to say, well, the terrorists are on top.
When you declare the coffee and the state of emergencies in those places, what did you do? Did you not yield to the enemies? Look, there's a difference between ordinary violence and suicide bombing or terrorism. It's a different ballgame all over the world. You know, as we're sitting, four of us are sitting, you don't know any of us who is going to take that action. It's unlike when you know that you are facing a war, the enemies are coming from this direction and they are coming from the other direction. So how do you know who is a terrorist or who is a suicide bomber?
Now, that's the thing we're saying. I mean, well, we've been saying that, you know, a host of states presently, from what we have seen over the years, I mean, only a couple of states have experienced this. But we're saying that what is the guarantee that other states, we pray it doesn't happen, but what's the guarantee that other states do are not targets?
But there are places where this thing is more grave, it's more serious. You know, those days that every day they bomb this place, they bomb the other place, people die, security of life and property is threatened. These are the areas we are talking about. We are not God. We don't know what is going to happen here. We don't know what is going to happen in my own house. You know, but we have known that in this area, just like the flooding in Lagos, there are areas that are more prone to flooding than others. So when there is rain in Lagos, emphasis are placed on those places.
What if it comes to the back of the fact that when some of the governors concerned in some of those states have also consistently said that steps have been put in place to ensure the security of lives and property of corps members?
What are the steps? Let them tell us the steps. Is it just coming to say or announce in the media that there are steps?
So if they
just that the Minister of Information has told us here.
But can they do that in all honesty? Is it possible
There's
to...
nothing they can do. The federal government could not...
No, what I mean, is it possible to tell you the steps on live television? I mean, wouldn't that just be opening yourself up?
No, but they have told us in the past that they have taken steps, and these steps were not enough. They have not been able to, suppress the terrorism or the terrorist act. People die every day. People's property are destroyed, and then the movement of people, speech, association, human rights, are being suppressed.
So if you were in that position to decide what happens, whether or not these corps members should be posted there, and then the governors come and tell you that steps have been taken, we will guarantee their lives and property, you would decline sending corps members there?
I will respect the opinions of the representative of my constituency, who had
more than those of the governors.
Which are they not in government? The members of the House of Representatives are closer to the people and to the constituencies.
But
more
remember,
than those who
they
stay in the
didn't say
comfort of
anything
AC.
until the media cried out before the House of Reps picked it up.
Of course, they listen to the yearnings and the aspirations of the people. Those in government should also listen. That's what we are saying.
They're all in government.
They're all in government.
They're all in government.
We are talking about those in the executive, those who who discharge these functions. The House of Representatives have gone to their constituencies. They have listened to the cries of the people of Nigeria, and they are saying, "Don't post Nigerians to those places." They are closer to the people than those who are ministers, those who are DGs, those who are works in commissions and agencies and departments of government, because those ones may stay without visiting their own constituencies for years. But these members of the House of Representatives, they visit their constituencies, they feel the pulse of the people, the aspirations of the people, and that's what they have expressed, and they should be commended, and CLO commends them.